Welcome back to Stride's Talking Points. This will be my second video today, and I'd like to thank you for coming to watch. Today, unique story on CNN. This just cracks me up. Didn't know if you know this, but Democrats are also racist. It's not just the GOP's, but here's an article at CNN saying what the GOP could learn from Democrats this disastrous Black History Month. Excuse me. Democrats have a better grasp on issues involving race than Republicans. Says who? That's not a real thing. That's actually a statement to show that CNN wants you to think that. However, if you do any research, which kind of goes through the story here, you'll notice that Democrats do not. We can debate policy ideas by the two parties and their respective effects, but it's blindingly obvious that the rhetoric from many, but certainly not all, Republicans have ranged from mildly insensitive to wildly racist over the past decade. Now, notice there's no citations in this. Nothing. When they use the immigrants as racist, we're referring to criminals from Mexico. That's not a race. Mexican is not a race. Mexican is a country. And the Obama family, not liking the president's family, is not racist. That's not liking people. Defended white supremacists. They're, to my knowledge, other than the Charlottesville thing where he said there were bad people on both sides, if you watch the videos of the breakdown of that thing, man, the Antifa came to fight, and fight they did. They fought the neo-Nazis and the Klan people there, and it was just a horrible incident. So we're going to slide down a little bit. First, we found out Virginia Governor Ralph Northam's 1984 medical school yearbook page featured a photo of one person dressed in blackface next to another Ku Klux Klan hood. While Northam initially apologized for the photo, he later backtracked, said he wasn't in it. Just an old yearbook photo. He says he wasn't in it. They say it was. Was he the guy in face? Was he the guy in the hood? I don't know. I really do think not knowing. I would think that wearing a Klan outfit or the other, even being in the full-on thing there, you would remember that. That would seem like something. But again, I'm a different generation. I would remember having done that in the past. However, he didn't. During what may have been the worst political press conference in recent years, Northam admitted that he wore blackface as part of a Michael Jackson costume. Wearing a Michael Jackson costume for a dance competition is not blackface. Wearing makeup to look like someone specific is not blackface. It's time for CNN to realize that wearing self-tanner or something like that is not blackface. It's not. Stop trying to make it like that. He dressed up as Michael Jackson for a competition, and I believe actually he said he won. Not blackface. Minstrel shows, that's what blackface is. Putting on darker makeup, self-tanning lotion, things like that, not blackface. Getting a tan, not blackface. He also sought to ease calls for his resignation by planning to go on a listening tour aimed at healing. Just days after the yearbook emerged, Virginia's Attorney General, was also a Democrat, admitted he too wore blackface at a Cars party. Great. So we have no pictures. I haven't seen anything on it at all. But hey, blackface. Even if it's makeup as part of a costume, they're still going to go with it. These two events, in addition to sexual assault charges aimed at the Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax, another Democrat. Man, Virginia is just all messed up. Then Northam's wife, Pamela, apparently handed out cotton of a tour of a governor's mansion and told kids to imagine themselves as slaves being forced to pick cotton. That's a historical building. It has historical context, and that should all be related. Doesn't seem that horrible to do. Yeah, they're trying to say she only did it to African American students, only to black students, and I believe the other article says it was just black pages, so CNN can't get their story straight on who she was giving it to. Yeah, slavery happened. It's actually a real thing that took place in America. It has been gone now for 100 and something years, and no one alive now owned a slave, and no one alive now ever was a slave. Not saying racism isn't there, but the act of discussing it shouldn't bring up outrage. You should know what happened. Worldwide, slavery has been around forever, and in countries like Libya, it still exists. Closing out February, Maryland's Democratic State Legislature, Marianne Lasani, was censured for calling a country a blank district. While she couldn't remember using sir, I'm sure everyone has used it. There you go. There are racists in the Democratic Party. Actually, there's racist everywhere. It's not so strange. It's only when the racism is aggressive or used in anger that you should really get out. Related article. Here you go. This lady here who worked for the Trump campaign, worked with Michael Cohen, was actually called out by a Muslim woman and basically being called she was a token, which was crazy to hear. And then you have this story here, which links out anti-Semitism. Of course, this is Ilhan Omar, who has really she is not for foreign money in the U.S. Pro-Israel activists and lawmakers hold allegiance to a foreign country. Those of you who don't know, Israel, Saudis, South Korea, and a few other countries dump approximately $400-500 million a year into our political system. They pump money in and they get money out. And saying hold allegiance to a foreign power, that is not a vile anti-Semitic slur. Overall, I'm not a big fan of Miss Omar here, but saying that U.S. holds allegiance to a foreign country with all that's going on, Russia investigation, all that, yeah, I mean, I don't like her a whole lot. However, she's trying to get us to stay out of invading both Venezuela, leave Syria, and stop allowing foreign money in our government. That would be great if that can happen. And in CNN's article here, they continue, minority voters have seen and heard so much about racism from GOP that they're not interested in Republic talking points. Even when the party touts improvement on issues that affect black Americans like lower unemployment under Trump and advances in criminal justice reform through legislation like the First Step Act. Now, saying that minorities are not interested is actually not true. CNN is trying to make it sound like that. However, you keep seeing the Brexit reform, the walk-away movement. There are a ton of black people that I watch myself that are very staunchly acting against the far-left liberals, the Democratic Party, because they have lost their minds. This is not a good stance anymore to say that one party is just racist and you have to vote with us. If you're black, you must vote Democratic or for the Democrats, which in itself is a racist statement. And that's kind of where the Democrats go. And then I was interested as I went through this Northam story. Northam says he's learned implications of being born with white privilege since racist photo controversy. This guy here, Devin Cole for CNN, did it. There's the thing, though. This white privilege doesn't exist. The only privilege that you can actually track or find is class privilege. If you are poor and you are from Appalachia, or if you are from some inner city somewhere, you do not get the benefits that wealthy people get, that people whose families are rich and even breaking it down to where single parent homes with multiple children, the poorer you are, the less likely you are to have privilege. It has nothing to do with skin color. It is just a money thing. And this is a CBS interview. Did you know that you were born into white privilege? King asked, cutting off the governor. All right, so here we go. Well, several things. Starting with, I was born in white privilege, and it has implications to it and is much different the way a white person such as myself is treated in this country, he said in the interview. No. You were born into a family with money, and that was your privilege. I knew I was, Mr. King, but I didn't realize it. Really, the powerful implication of that, and again, talking to a lot of friends, that has come crystally clear to me. This week, I've also learned why the use of blackface is so offensive, he replied. And yes, I knew it in the past, but reality has set in. So, he has now been convicted of white privilege, which he has class privilege, money. He has been convicted of a picture which may or may not be him. I'm going to side on this. I'm going to line up and say, yes, that probably was him in the hood, or the actual minstrel face. I'm going to reiterate my point that I don't believe putting on face paint to look like Michael Jackson is blackface. But hey, apparently I'm in the minority. Actually, no, I'm not in the minority. I'm not a far left person, so I'm going to say, yeah, I'm probably on the right side of history, and this will all blow up here shortly. Yeah, this guy here is very out of touch as a person, definitely raised rich. In another part of the interview, Northam refers to enslaved Africans as indentured servants from Africa, a characterization that King responds to by saying also known as slavery. Yes. Slaves from Africa, slaves from Ireland, slaves from everywhere. Indentured servants generally weren't listed as slaves. They weren't actually property. They had to serve a certain amount of time and then were released. So, yeah, there you go. And following along the stories that come engulfed about white privilege, here comes this. This is also one of the links in the story. Former Maine Governor LePage, cutting electoral college would hurt whites. Former Maine Governor Paul LePage says any elimination of electoral college, that is hard to say, would hurt white people. White people will not have anything to say. Proposals to eliminate electoral college are sometimes floated but fail to gain traction. A Maine legislative committee plans to discuss the proposal next week. Now, here's the thing. He says cutting the electoral college would mean there is never another presidential candidate from small states like Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Wyoming, Montana, Rhode Island, blah, blah, blah. While Governor LePage blamed out-of-state minority dealers for bringing drugs into Maine and added they often impregnate young white girls in Maine. I don't know why this is added. It's essentially to double down, make this guy look even worse. But here's kind of the point of the electoral college. Half the U.S. population lives in 9 states. So if we were going to have an election, you campaign in California, Texas, Florida, Atlanta, Illinois, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, and you're done. There's your campaign. You hit 9 states, you cycle those 9 states, you rally those 9 states. If you take those 9 states, you win. That's it. All done. That's just kind of the thing about the Electoral College. It breaks it up. And here's an even deeper one. In those states, including those states, if you campaigned in just a few other cities, look at that. Half the U.S. population lives in the shaded counties. These are 244 counties, 23 square miles of land, and that's it. Or no, sorry, that's just referring to Texas. Anyway, so you campaign in these 9 states, and then while you back it up, you hit a handful of places here. I'm guessing that's Portland, Seattle, maybe Salt Lake. You just bounce around to a few cities. St. Louis, Chicago, what you would have to hit anyway. What's that? Louisville, Nashville, Memphis. Yeah. So you campaign through 9 states, have rallies in a couple of other cities. Bam. All these people don't matter anymore. Millions of Americans have no voice whatsoever because you were able to win 9 states. And that's the point of the Electoral College, is to balance out the voice of the country. And for all those people talk about democracy, we are a constitutional republic. We have been the whole time. The worry about the mob was always first and foremost in the minds of the people that founded our country. And yeah, so there you go. That's my 16-minute story. I thank you all for your time, and I hope you're having a wonderful day.